I said this is going to be the strangest.
It really
interview
is.
because I'm interviewing somebody that interviewed.
That you right, and if I try to turn it around,
That's
if
fine.
you ask me a question and I'm like, oh well, blah blah blah, what do you think about blah blah blah? Okay.
Because we do hard hitting.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Well, that's what Branson's all about.
That is correct.
Hey, I am out here actually, because we started already, with Joshua Clark. And I wanted to talk to you because you have been here for quite some time in Branson. You
Yes,
work for
sir.
the newspaper, the Tri Lakes.
Branson Tri Lakes News, that
Branson
is
Tri
correct.
Lakes. And you interview entertainers quite a bit, and you cover shows.
I do. I have a very interesting job. Folks tell me all the time, you know, you get paid to go and see shows. I'm like, well, yes, man. And then you interview people afterwards. Yes.
Yeah.
That must be awesome. I'm like, you know, sometimes it's really cool and sometimes it's not.
Well, there you go. That's what I want to talk to you
Yeah.
about, all the dirt. So how long you been, how long have you worked in Branson
Okay.
covering this?
Often, my first year in Branson was 93.
Okay.
I was 15 or 16 years old. And my father came up here after the 60 Minutes piece aired in 91 or 92, right around the big boom, as we like to call it here in town.
Right.
So my first job is what is now called the Dutton Inn. It's behind the Duttons. It was the Boxcar Willie Motel at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Here I was, this 15-year-old kid, getting paid, this was 12 or 14 bucks an hour, under the table, of course, as an unskilled laborer. Dude, they actually gave me a jackhammer to operate. A jackhammer, yes. So for like 3 or 4 days, I'm...
I don't even use a regular hammer.
I mean-
like, that scares me to death.
I never, no training, no safety court, no nothing, no hard hat, nothing. So I'm bah, 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 and this guy walks up to her on the first day and he says, you might want to stand away from it a little bit because if you lose control of it, it'll tear your feet apart.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would hold it about where you are right now
Yeah.
and do that. I almost got beat up as well. We were supposed to throw concrete out of a flower bed. My brother and I thought it'd be a funny idea to see how far we could throw the concrete. Little did we know that on the other side of the hill at the bottom, there were some guys doing plumbing. This guy walks out, he's got a big knot on his head where I hit him with a piece of concrete. Needless to say, the next year, I did not go back to work in construction. What I did was I went to country music legend Mickey Gilley. I worked for Gilley's Texas Cafe from 94 through 99. I did, started in the dish room. I waited tables, I tended bar, served, all that stuff, and that's how I got to meet Gilley.
Yeah.
And Gilley, he just finished up his last show. It's ridiculous for me to think that someone who should be in the Country Music Hall of Fame, somebody who everybody knows Gilley's.
Right.
You know, even if you can't name one single song the man sang, you still know country music legend Mickey Gilley. So to have him considered as a friend, someone who knows me, someone who calls me by my name, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's just
that's weird
I mean,
about Branson.
it really is. Even before I was a reporter for the paper, you know, that's nothing. And that whole thing came about. Branson is much like the rest of the world. It's all about who you know.
Right.
I left Branson in '99 and went back to my native. I'm originally from Mississippi. I'm sure you can't tell from this accent that I have. But I went home, married, divorced, all that good stuff, you know, 4 or 5 years. And Hurricane Katrina hits in 2005. Job, car, house, gone. All of it gone. I was living, my house was 6 miles from the water, from the coast. So that hit in August, and then in February of the following year, I was here. What is now called Branson Central, over on 165 by the Acrobats,
Yeah.
across from the Whiteout Station. That was called Shake It Up.
Yeah. That's the first place I went when I came to Branson.
My first gig in my new Branson life was I was the general manager of Shake It Up for 2006. Did all kind of foolishness, all kind of crazy stuff
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
We have a whole episode about roofies.
Oh,
So,
and I tell you what, everybody always tells me, they're like, wow, it must be so fun to run your own club. I'm like, yes, imagine being the only sober person babysitting 400 drunks, and that's what it's
Yeah.
like to own your own club. So what I did was I did that for a while, and the longer you're here, the more you work, the more people you get to know. And I met a friend of mine who's a local musician in town who currently works at the radio station, a dude by the name of Sam Clanton. Sam's a really talented mandolin player, plays guitar, banjo, all that good stuff. Really solid dude. Sam was a friend of the lady that I was seeing at the time. And the person that owned Shake It Up, let's just say that he lacked certain moral fiber.
Oh, really?
Yes, and he ended up being a guest of the state of Arkansas.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yes.
That's where you want to be a guest.
I mean, never did I ever think that taking a job would result in me having to go to a deposition by an attorney, but it happened.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, after that year, no gig. I wanted to get out of the restaurant business. That's what I had done for a while. So I met Sam. At this time, Sam was the editor for the Stone County Gazette. He says, you know, you're a pretty smart person. You seem pretty well read, pretty well spoken. He said, you ever thought about being a writer? I'm like, well, yeah, of course. You know, why would I not? You know, TV show, actor, whatever. Sure, yeah. I'll try anything. You know, whatever. I don't see why I couldn't do it. You know. So he said, well, they're looking for a sports editor at the Independent. And I said, okay. I didn't think anything of it. My lady friend at the time, she's like, you need to go. You need to, well, we'll see.
She says that in broken English.
Yeah. We'll see, you know. So finally he calls me up one day. He's like, they're going to be there at 5 o'clock today. You need to go up there and talk to them. I said, okay. So he tells, oh, by the way, you need to write something. I'm like, what do I write? He's like,
just got homework.
Just pick a story. I said, okay. So I'm a big Saints fan, so I wrote something about the Saints.
Like Catholic Saints?
No. Well, I mean, yes, I do like, as a matter of fact, if you want to talk about Saints, have you ever heard of the Saint? His name is Saint Expedite.
No.
Okay. Interesting story. In New Orleans, all sorts of old school French Catholic, old school churches, all right? One church in particular is still in the quarter. Can't think of the name of it, or even the street that it's on. That church started in Europe. When they moved over to New Orleans, they boxed up statues of the saints to send them over to put in, St. Patrick's there and all these other saints. There's one that they didn't know who it was. On the box, it said Expedite, which of course means open quickly, or quick. Yes. Yeah. So they started calling this Saint Expedite. They put him in the back corner of the church, and that's the patron saint that people would go to when they needed something in a hurry. My light bill's due tomorrow, blah, 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 this and that and the other. Boom, there you go.
Right.
So I always thought that was really, really cool. But
yeah,
that's just...
You need to watch our episode where my wife and I had an unexpected vacation to Rome. Mm-hmm. We were supposed to go to China, and our visa... We went to the airport in Springfield. Only the Springfield airport would not let us on the plane because of a spelling error. We called, everything was fine with everybody else except for one person in Branson. So we had to pick a different destination. We said, where's your next flight? Rome. So we go to Rome, and we end up crashing the former Pope's last Mass. We snuck into it. We later found out we inadvertently snuck in. And we were right down front with all the...
Were you blessed?
We were. I was blessed by the Pope. So
Are you Catholic?
No.
That's even better.
I know. And so we go, and we're there. My wife is watching the Pope on the screen. I don't want to tell the story. We have a whole episode. But she's like, look, that's the Pope. And I go, he's standing right behind you. And she turned around, and he was there. Like, we were down front. So later we found out, after going on a tour with some people, that we snuck in with a group of German people. We just happened to be with this Mass. They all went in. They were special guests of the Pope down front. You had to have some sort of passes or tickets to get into the last Mass. And they're like, those were premium. Like, people have been trying to get those all year. And you just went in. I'm like, yeah, here's a picture of us with the Pope, me pointing at the Pope, me doing this, me holding out playing cards with the Pope behind me.
Doing a selfie.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, we're not Catholic.
God, that's awesome. But see, but as we do, full circle.
Yeah.
Back around, Catholic Saints, New Orleans Saints. God, where were we? Big fan of. Yeah. Okay.
So the newspaper.
I wrote a story. Yes, I wrote a story about the Saints had just shipped a troubled wide receiver to Atlanta. I'm not a big fan of the Falcons, being a Saints fan. We'll get into that later. So I show up, my first interview for the newspaper. Now keep in mind, I don't have a college degree. All right, I went to college, went to junior college for a little while. I was going to be a teacher. I was going to be a history major. I realized, hey, I can make $200 a night waiting tables. Why the hell would I want to, be a teacher?
Right.
Looking back now, I really totally wish that I would have finished up.
Yeah.
But I go in for my first interview, and they're like, the editor reads it, hands it to the publisher. Publisher reads it, hands it back to the editor. Editor says, what do you think? Says, well, the kid can write. Editor says, all right, be here Monday morning. So that's how I got a job as the sports editor for the Branson Independent here in town. Now, keep in mind, I had no formal training. No journalism school, no journalism class.
You fit right in.
No, I did. I fit right in. I sat at my desk for a week and a half waiting for someone to tell me what it was I was supposed to do. Yeah. And finally, the design editor, she's like, "Are you going to go to a game at all?" I'm like, "There are games." When do these games start? And she kind of
game you speak of?
Yes. So basically, what happened was, I started down a long journey of one of my greatest strengths also being a biggest weakness, because I didn't go to journalism school, because I wasn't classically trained as it were. Like, I don't have any of those. You can't do this. You can't do that.
Right.
Blah 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 blah. So people say, "Oh, we really dig what you do," and I'm like, "Well, that's because it's raw and it's more stream of consciousness than anything."
Yeah. I know that exact feeling.
So that's a lot of fun. So I get a little, difference.
Yeah.
But I did that. I did sports for 2009 and 2010. 2007, 2008, and then 2009, I got the opportunity to go to the Branson Tri Lakes News, and they had just lost the person that did entertainment, and they did one entertainment page. Not really a presence in the entertainment community.
Branson Entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, why would you?
No,
right, why would you? So they said, "Look, here's what we want you to do. We want you to cover this and this and this." Okay, that's fine. But, we want you to do feature stories. There's a lot of really cool entertainers. Gary S. Paxson. The man produced the Monster Mash. The old school song, Alley Oop, the Hollywood Argyle tune. So he lives here in town.
I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yes. Yeah. He's got orange hair. He goes by Grandpa Rock now. He's awesome. Be sure that you have a whole lot of batteries if you ever decide to get Gary, because he will put you on lockdown. He really will. But it's so interesting. He's got a really cool story. There are people, the group Brewer and Shipley, who wrote the tune "One Took Over the Line," Sweet Jesus, "One Took Over the Line," 70s tune. One of those cats lives in town. There's a whole bunch of different people who have done a whole lot that live here in town. So they said, "Why don't you do feature stories?" I said, "Okay, I can do that." Well, after 2 or 3 feature stories, there was a massive shakeup at the paper. The editor the publisher who had been there for a long time was let go. And our new publisher came in, a fellow by the name of Mike Schuver. Mike is also the vice president of our company, of Lancaster Newspapers. So not only do we have a new boss, but he's like a big boss. So he comes in and tells me, he said, "Hey, look, I've been reading your stuff." He said, "We are a newspaper in the live show capital of the world, and we don't have an entertainment presence." He said, "I want to change that." I said, "Okay, so what do we need to do?" He said, "I'll give you 2 or 3 pages an issue. Do what you do." He's like, "You've already got a door in." My brother, all right, so I leave in 99, and my brother Justin stays here in town. And Justin goes to work at Applebee's waiting tables. He worked with me at Gillies. He waits on a group one night. Turns out they had just purchased a theater here in town. It was the old Christie Lane Theater. It's not even here anymore. But the show was Legends in Concert.
Oh, yeah.
So my brother goes to work as a stage manager for Legends in Concert, 19 years old, about to turn 20. He does that for 2 or 3 years. The guy that does Elwood Blues gets hurt. Rob Horton, he throws his back out, has to have emergency surgery. They say he's done. Well, his partner, who he's been with for 15 years, is going to be out of a job unless he can find another partner.
Right.
And my brother's like, "I can do that." Like, I've seen y'all do this 12 shows a week for 3 solid years.
I know.
You didn't know that? You know Justin? Yeah. That's my little brother.
Oh, wow.
And now that you know, you're going to look at me and you're going to be like, "Oh, I can totally see that
No,
now."
because I met Bucky years ago. And we used to go to Legends all the time. My daughter was obsessed with Legends. She loved the Temptations when they were there, whatever. And so we went, and I heard that that they were going to change some things with the Blues Brothers. All my friends were like, "You should go out for that," because I was an acrobat.
Right.
And they're like, "You could do the moves. You could do." I'm like, "I'm not really a singer," and they're like, "Come on, you can do it."
Bow. That's
all. Yeah, they're like, "You could do this. You could do this." And so that was a goal of. That's crazy. I did not know that.
So Justin did that for like 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
So I had that in. When I first started, people were like, "Hey, aren't you Justin's brother?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." Blah blah blah. So I went from doing sports to doing entertainment, and then it's like, it's a completely and totally different world. And see, I credit that time that I spent hanging out backstage, meeting different people, going on remotes, going on what do you guys call them whenever you promos?
Oh yeah,
there you go. Going on promos and doing little things like that,
Yeah.
and seeing how they act when they're on stage, and seeing how different they are when they're,
Right.
oh, we got to go. And hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. You know, excuse me while I plaster on a
No
fake
one
smile
knows
and
that better
plop
than me.
that. I bet.
Because people are always shocked when they see me backstage. They're like, "You're a depressing." I am a Bucky. I am very. Everything bothers me.
Like
It's too
Eeyore.
cold. It's too
Yes,
hot.
yes.
The sun's bothering me right now. And then you go on stage and it's a whole different ballgame. But I'll tell you what, we got to take a quick break. And when I come back, we're going to talk about.
We probably went way over.
Probably.
Yeah.
But oh well. So we will be back.